welcome to the show. And I want to thank you first of all for taking the time to do this, because I know you're really busy, and I know your work is pretty important. You're going to tell us all about your work, because there's still a few people that really don't know how important the job that you do, how important it really is. So we'll get into all of that, but could you first of all, I always ask this question, when did it all start for you? Was you a child when this?
Yes. Well, at first, I want to say thank you for having me on your show. I was been looking so forward to talking with you and excited for what you were going to pull out of my mind today. uh, yes, it started when I was really young. Looking back, I realized probably when I was about 3 years old, 4 years old is when I realized what was going on.
Right,
But I didn't really realize that it was different than most people till I got older.
right. And
Yeah.
when so this was like a kind of progression. You know, did you kind of feel you was going nuts here? What's going on here?
I did.
Because I presume you had no one you could confide in with you about this.
Not really. The way I realized that I was different is I would tell my parents about my conversations with my dog and my turtle and my fish and my hamster or whatever I could bring home. I grew up in Hollywood, so there was kind of slim pickings on the wildlife, but whatever I could find, I would grab, and bring home. Frogs at the local tar pits, whatever. And my parents pretty much would dismiss it to, dreaming. Oh, you had a dream about it, or just
Right.
like a child's fantasy.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But as I got older, yeah, I began to realize, no, I'm very different. And then I kind of went inward. Michael, I kept it to myself for many, many years.
Yeah. We know that
And
feeling. Yeah.
you know that feeling, right?
Yeah.
And I had friends of my older sisters that were psychic and this and that, but what I um my life, which is now my life's work, is a little bit different because it's just basically who I am. I don't predict the future or anything
No.
like that.
No.
I just talk with the animals like I talk with you.
Right.
And what really brought me out was I was studying hypnotherapy, and it was just I loved it. Going to become a hypnotherapist, and my professor uh, basically said, "Why are you just not doing this? I
Right.
don't comprehend what the disconnection is.
Right.
What what is? Oh, hold on, we're getting messages in between there. Sorry about
Right.
that. What is the problem? Go home, hypnotize your horse, come back to me, and tell me what you think." He used that as like a stepping stool,
Right.
and I did that, and then I honestly, the doors just busted wide open.
Yeah.
After that, I was like, oh yeah, I've got to come out. As I say, just got to come out.
Yeah.
I closed my other business that I
Really?
was
Right. Right.
successful at. Yeah, I just shut the doors and I said, here I am, world. I built a website. I'm crazy and I'm ready for you.
Right.
Let's see what happens.
Wow.
Here I come.
Wow.
And here I am.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that must have had a lot of conviction, because to close a successful business, you must have felt this really deep in your heart that your connection with animals was really something that you wanted to do. There could be no other way for you.
Exactly. There was no other way.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is my other businesses is so disconnected from what I do now. But those clients followed me over just because they love me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now they were my base, my beginning, believe it or not. Well, can you talk to my dog? Can you talk to my cat?
Yeah.
Can you help me
Yeah.
now? Like they
Yeah.
kind of knew I always had to sing with the animals,
Yeah.
but so I was kind of supported at the beginning a little bit in a very odd way. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So, what would your first experience say of, okay, I know I can do this, so I'm going to listen attentively now. Um, so, your first experience was it a deliberate? I'm gonna now try and talk to this animal. By the way, I don't like that word animal. I really
I
dislike the word.
know it has a bad tone to it. I know.
I tend,
Brother, it's my four-legged brother.
yeah,
Yeah.
I tend to use the word life form, but that's a little bit too
Okay.
woo-woo for some
Woo woo.
people.
Oh, woo woo. Yeah.
um, but okay, so we call it our furry friends then, because they're not all furry, but we call it our furry friends. So did you actually say, okay, I'm going to really now put my mind to this and I'm going to communicate? Or again, was it just it just flowed into you and you gradually built up an idea of how to communicate?
Oh no, I was born this way.
Yeah,
The first experience when I realized was with one of my dogs, my little Chihuahua, and I've told this story a few times where I heard him crying in the night, screaming. He wasn't with me; he was outside.
right.
And then I ran and told my parents, and they
Yeah,
said, "No, you're just having a very bad dream. We don't hear him.
yeah.
There's nothing going on."
Mhm.
And then the next morning, he had kidney failure and he passed away.
Oh,
So looking back now, I heard him loud and clear then, and knew that my parents were wrong. That I was
right,
actually. But as far as professionally,
right,
yes, I had to really just now let's focus a little bit deeper here.
right. Yeah,
You'll be charging money, and you have to do your best for my new career. Was been working on becoming vegan. I was pescatarian, then vegetarian,
yeah,
and I said to plant-based lifestyle, exercise, sleep, peaceful mindset,
yeah.
no negativity, just all the things that surround me. That is how I prepared myself, and I
Right,
still do every day for
right.
my work, which I'm sure you know.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it just broke up a little bit there, but it was all right. You're a vegan now. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
because I was wondering. Many of the animals are highly intuitive, and if they could
Yes.
smell the fact that you've
They
eaten,
can
and
smell them.
yeah,
Yeah.
and so
And how
I figure they
you know
might
what
be a
I used
little
to do
bit,
with my clients?
whoa,
Yes.
keep away from this.
Whoa. Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly, exactly. I'm sorry the interruptions. My
yeah.
clients are keep texting me this morning, and I can't turn it off, or I won't be able to talk to you on Skype. The
That's
catch
okay.
22 here.
Yeah,
I'm sorry for the
that's
drop downs.
that's
Uh,
all right. We're all natural.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
What kind of person would I be if? Well, I
yeah.
wouldn't have any clients if I ate them, would I?
No,
I mean,
yeah,
I wouldn't be in business.
yeah, yeah,
That's cruel.
yeah,
How can you be an animal communicator and eat
yeah,
meat? It's just
yeah,
absurd,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I watched your promo video and I was fascinated by all of it actually, but the little doggy who you got him to stop running out into the street.
Oh, Steph. Yes,
I
yes,
mean, this is real evidence that we see here.
yes.
There's no hearsay. It can't be,
No,
um, you know, you talking to the owner of an animal and he says, "Oh, your dog says this or your dog says that." They could argue that that's hearsay, but
right.
this was absolute evidence that the dog understood you. What did you say to him?
Yeah, when I shoot those things, they're completely unrehearsed, and a lot of times when I was doing a lot of those videos, the producer I was working with would set up people I didn't know and just take me out like cold,
Right.
just shoot me raw.
Yeah.
What I showed little Seth was it was awful. I showed him getting run over by a car
Right.
on the street
Right.
and being smashed, and that's it.
Right.
And I showed him because it was a very busy street out,
Yeah.
on her storefront there.
Yeah.
It's one of the busiest streets here in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And once I showed him that, he didn't know. He didn't know he could get hit by a car
Yeah.
and be flattened, and that's it.
Right.
That's all it took. That's all it took. It was amazing because, yeah, 1, 2, 3, he was like, she had the treat. Come on, come on. And he
Yeah.
was like,
No, I'm not moving. No.
Stop moving. Yeah.
God, that was super. And do you get called in a lot from professional places, vets and zoos, or
Yes.
even shops? I don't know if you're allowed to sell animals in shops out where you are, but you know, let's just call it under the umbrella of professional people. Do you get called out from it? Have they come more open to the idea now of the work you do?
Yes, and a lot of times, well, I work with a lot of professionals. I work with a couple of vets. We go out as a team where, he works as a,
Yeah,
technician for
yeah,
euthanasia. I work as a spiritual, advisor as the animal crosses over.
yeah,
I work a lot with, well, big high end at the racetrack with a lot of trainers.
yeah,
I work with a lot of Grand Prix jumpers. We're talking horses that are like millions of dollars,
yeah,
and they need help because I hate to say it, but it's valuable property
yeah,
to
yeah,
some of these people.
yeah,
So any advice or any help they can get, they call me in, and I don't mind. People say, "How can you work or with show dogs? How can you work with animals that are put in these terrible
yeah,
situations?" I get a lot of heat for that, but I always explain that I'll work with any animal that needs my help or any human that
right,
asks me to help their animal.
yeah,
It's not that it's put in that situation. So if I can make their existence a little better,
right,
I'm all in. I'm
yeah,
all in. Yeah.
yeah,
So I do
yeah.
work with a lot of professionals. Yes, I do.
Do you find
Hmm.
that horses are in more intuitive? I guess it really depends. The reason I ask is because I have an affinity with horses. Actually, my surname means horses in Italian, and
Oh, really?
so somewhere
Yes,
along,
I noticed that. I said I noticed that. Yes.
somewhere along the line, my family must have worked with horses because that's how it worked. But I've actually done healing with horses, if you like, spiritual healing, and I found that the horse, if it was his back leg that needed, he would lift it up to tell me this is where I need the healing. I find them incredibly intuitive. So, having said that, is there a species that you can connect with better simply because of their genetic makeup, or it just really depends on the individual animal?
It really depends on the individual animal, but personally, I have to say the horses are my favorite too.
Right, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they are my favorite too. I do have a favorite. I love working with horses, and there's so many programs out there for healing.
yeah,
Veterans,
yeah, yeah,
abused women, kids at risk. At least here in California, we have tons of programs
yeah,
uh, offered. And there's a reason why. With the convicts, rehabilitation,
yeah,
breaking the wild mustangs out here is a big program. It's
right,
really fascinating
yeah,
because the horses just mirror
yeah,
what is going on with you. There's no, excuse my French, bullshit.
yeah,
It is what it is.
yeah,
And you've got to look at yourself in that horse's reflection.
right,
Sometimes it's hard to do, but also a beautiful opening experience
yeah, yeah.
all at the same time. Yeah.
And what about cats? Because I read the other day, and it was a great quote. I mean, a cat has absolute emotional honesty. You know,
Yeah.
when it doesn't have want you to stroke it anymore, it just gets up and leaves. Right.
Right.
When it wants feeding, it lets you know. When it's had enough, it just walks away. Um, so that type of species, if you like, um, are they
They're more
harder to work with?
independent. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're more independent. Yeah.
yeah,
But honestly, Michael, all the animals are complete and pure, speak with honesty because they have no ego like
yeah.
us. It doesn't
Beautiful.
come
Yeah,
it doesn't come from anywhere else
yeah,
but just it is what it is from
yeah,
their heart.
yeah,
So they're all extremely honest and can be brutal, but also extremely loving.
yeah,
When I'm
yeah,
in a session, I always tell my clients, I'm not sugarcoating anything
yeah,
because I'm honestly really there just for the animals.
yeah,
They get to benefit
yeah,
because then we can make the animal's life better.
yeah,
But I'm just a connector,
yeah,
uh, you know. the messenger, so to speak.
Right.
So, but cats can be very independent and kind of snooty. That is true.
Yeah, yeah. Um, well, I just wanted to go back a little bit and talk about you attend euthanasia
Yes.
things. I mean, it's if you don't want to talk about it, I don't understand.
Oh no, I
D-
don't mind at all. I just wrote a whole book on it. Can I promo my new book?
You can, and we're going to promo it now, and we're going to promo it before
Oh,
we leave.
okay.
Afterlife, I think it's called, isn't it?
That's yes, Afterlife of Animals. Yes,
Yeah,
yeah, I wrote a whole book on it. Yeah.
yeah. Super. We'll get into that before.
Okay.
Um, the question I wanted to ask you: do you inform the animal? Oh, I hate that word, animal. Do you inform
Oh
the
no.
dog, for example, what's
Yes.
about to happen? And
Yes.
is he or she acceptant of it, or fearful, or what goes through the mind of the animal?
That's a great question. I was just talking about this yesterday on my blog. Um, they they have no fear of the afterlife because for them, and honestly, even though I named my book that, I don't like that word either.
Yeah,
It's a continuation of life.
yeah,
It's not really,
yeah,
you know, from here
yeah,
and it's
yeah,
over and then you go on.
yeah,
When we look at it that way, we look at it as, it's the end because we can't physically connect with them anymore.
yeah.
But they're already and usually very excited to move on because
Yeah.
they know it's there. So they're at
Okay.
one with the universe. But I do like to explain to them the actual technical side
Right.
of euthanasia so they know how it's going to happen.
Right.
Yeah,
That's beautiful that they don't have the fear. Um,
no.
and so I assume you can also express to the owners of the pets uh, what the process is, and hopefully put their minds at ease as well.
Yes, it can be very traumatic. The fear of not knowing, that scary feeling of having your animal pass away right in front of you
Yeah.
can be very traumatic for the humans.
Yeah.
Uh, and you need to be there, but sometimes people just can't for some reason. So I can be there. I
Yeah.
have a lot of animal crossover with that. They're human companions, which is sad because for me, I feel it's the most intimate moment you could share
Yeah.
with your loved one, your
Yeah.
four-legged loved one,
Yeah.
two-legged, winged, whatever,
Yeah.
clawed, because for them to cross over and for
Yeah.
you to be there with them is so beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not a small thing.
I mean, I was there for when my father crossed over, and it was a beautiful experience. I wouldn't have wanted it any other way. You know, if it's never happened to, or you've never experienced before, it's something that you can't describe. But it isn't the nightmare that you might think it is. It's a very beautiful thing, actually. Um, so that was my experience with it. Actually, it's a lot harder. It might sound very strange, but it's a lot harder when I've lost a pet.
No, it's not strange at all. I feel you. I feel you. I still have many, many holes in my heart from
Yeah,
all the animals
yeah,
that I've had to let go through the years.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I understand.
So, what about the Rainbow Bridge? Is this part of the euthanasia process that you speak about? You talk about this in your book, I think.
Yeah, well, we call it, crossing the Rainbow Bridge.
Right.
In reality, when I'm traveling to the other side and coming back and forth, it's really just a matter of
Yeah.
not even a split second. I really feel like that other dimension is running parallel to ours right now.
Yeah.
And I just kind of move over and then I get to come back. And I move over and I get to come back.
Right.
And I escort them across and settle them in. And then fortunately, I still get to come back. But yeah, I mean, we have all these different terminologies that we've made for it. The Rainbow Bridge, the afterlife. The humans. We have to put a label on it, as
Yeah.
always.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, with the communication, I just want to jump back in the communication
Oh,
process.
sure, sure.
Is it a combination of what I would say all the clairs. It's the seeing. They give you the information through visual effect. Sometimes a still, sometimes a movie. You hear it in your inner voice, or you feel what they're giving you.
All the above.
Yeah.
I smell it. I taste it. I can taste their food when they want to know what their favorite food is. They
Wow.
let me taste it. Yeah. The worst experience I had was working with a snake, and he was letting me taste what a rat. And, oh
Oh
wow.
dear.
Oh God, seriously, being vegan, I'm like,
Yeah.
ah! And I really didn't want to
Yeah.
taste that. But all of that, and I do hear their. It's not intuition. I actually hear them speaking when I work with them.
Wow.
So
Wow.
that makes my work really easy because all I have to do, we have to ask them the question and they give me the answer most of the time. And then, of course, with all the other stuff, it's just an addition to their personality. You
Yeah.
know, some of them are so funny.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I worked with a horse the day before yesterday. We laughed the whole session. I said, I'm going to send you your money back because you made my day today. I'm
Right.
so happy. We were laughing like a comedy show, just a crack up, you know. And he was a big, giant, warm blood show horse, which you would not expect to have such a silly personality, you
Right.
know?
Right. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so I get it from all points of view from each animal, just like when you meet a human and you feel their energy
Yeah.
and you look at their expressions, you listen to their voice, the whole package. So
Beautiful.
it's really
Yeah. Yeah.
fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
really fun. I love my work. It's so fun because I never know what each day is going to bring, just like what we were talking about
Yeah.
before we started today,
Yeah.
how you
Yeah.
love your work.
Yeah.
It's just not work. It's like who we are. It's who
Yeah.
we are, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's us.
It's wonderful to not feel the need to have a break. Yeah, you get tired at the end of the day, and sometimes you feel a little bit tired. But again, it's that experience that a lot of people don't have, is to wake up every morning with this wow factor. What's today going to bring? Never a sort of roll on Friday, the weekend. It just that doesn't come into the equation.
Exactly. Yeah, because I work 7 days a week. My phone is on 24/7, as you can see, because
Yeah.
I have clients all over the world. So the time,
Mm.
I'm always here for them. I'm
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
here for them. My partner's like, "Can you ever shut your phone off?" And I'm like, "No, I cannot." So deal with it. That's how it goes. He's given up now. He's given up
Of
asking me
course
to
he
turn my
would. Yeah. So I know also now that you connect with the pets in the afterlife. You can You're a spirit communicator with animals.
yeah.
Do you have an interesting story where one's come back? I'm sure you got
Oh,
them.
yes. I know. People always ask me about reincarnation, and honestly, I have not met an animal yet that has told me they've been reincarnated. Um, but who knows? Maybe someday I will. I mean, I had my own experience with a vision and a message, and well, I thought I was seeing the actual. It was with a horse in person, but then when I looked back, it was gone. So I'm not really sure
Right. Yeah.
what that story was, but I don't have any good reincarnation stories to share with you.
No. No. But the process
No, no,
of
it's a
come.
possibility.
I mean, you have clients that come to you, present you with a picture or whatever, and say, "Can you connect with my dog that I lost?"
Yes,
Yeah.
it can be very healing because we have so many of my clients that ask me for that might have issues of did I do enough? Did I give them the best life? Um, did they suffer when they crossed over?
Right.
They want
Yeah.
to know is there
Yeah.
pain. What are they doing now? And then we get a bird's eye view. Some of them, are just doing crazy things. I mean, I have one of my horses is right now with one of my clients'
Right.
dogs,
Right.
and they're having the best time. They're out in the jungle. They're with all these monkeys.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just having
Yeah.
a blast. I
Yeah.
mean, they're just having the best time. Some of
Yeah.
them are at the beach. They're in the mountains.
Yeah.
Some of them are flying around.
Yeah.
They come back and visit back and forth.
Yeah.
They watch the guardian
Yeah.
angel. That I get all the time. They all come back and are pretty much, again, the label, I hate to say, but like our guardian angels. They're
Yeah.
watching over,
Yeah.
they're human caretakers now from
Right.
the other side, which is
Right.
beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And you have the clients all over the world.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm so fortunate because of modern technology.
Yeah.
Um, it's just in time
Yeah.
came, and Skype and I Facebook message and WhatsApp and you name it, we do it,
Yeah.
to communicate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you find it makes any difference to the communication with you? Because I know some mediums that I work with don't like doing Skype readings. They prefer
Oh,
the
yeah.
energy of one to one. I've kind of got used to it. I do prefer one to
Okay.
one. I can work
Okay.
with Skype and I can work with pictures. Do you have a preference at all?
I do. Believe it or not, my preference is to not be in person because I find, remember, I have a third party, the human.
Mm,
And what happens is they're looking for a reaction or
mm,
an interaction, and it takes away from my extreme focus.
right,
So when I'm not dealing with them, or even I don't even like to do a video Skype when I'm doing a reading,
right,
it's just much better with audio because
right,
I'm reading it through telepathy,
right.
and I just let and the clear senses, I just let them all come in,
Yeah,
and I'm not having to, um, I don't want to say placate the human, or kind of, because sometimes, like I said, they're looking for that physical
yeah,
response from their
yeah,
animal.
yeah,
And the animal can be sleeping, or again, on the other side, which
yeah,
we can't happen in
yeah,
person. So it's pretty irrelevant. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So you
Yeah.
actually record it for them and then send them off like an MP3.
No, no, I don't do any recording.
Right,
Um, that's one of my rules, honestly. I read just live because
right,
it's a live conversation and they're a part of it, but just
right,
audio.
right.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
because I was wondering, you don't have interaction with the client. You,
No, they do. They speak. What I do in my sessions is I do a little bit of a light induction for
yeah,
them.
yeah.
I don't actually hypnotize them.
Right.
Oh, my secret sauce. Don't look at my eyes. It's dangerous.
Sleep,
But
sleep.
but just to relax them because sometimes they're very nervous about
Yeah,
what the animals say.
yeah,
And so I just do it for them. I relax them for a few minutes and then they actually leave the session for me. They speak the questions out
yeah,
loud.
yeah,
I repeat them telepathically at the same time to the animal,
yeah.
and then I come back with everything, that I receive. And we just have a whole open conversation. It's
Right.
really fun.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I can imagine. Let's talk about your book, and then
Okay.
we can wrap this up after. Let me find
Okay.
your book. There we are. Put your book up. It's up there. You can't see it, but you'll see it when you.
Oh, thank you.
So, Afterlife of Animals. So
Yes.
it's out on Amazon in 70 of the 90 odd countries that it's available in. Is that correct?
Yes, I can't believe it. I was just looking at my author's page the other day and I was like, what? I mean, it's my first book and it's not like I'm, a well-known author or anything, but I just was like, wow, thank you to everybody around the world, all my clients
Yeah,
that are participating, and purchasing it.
yeah.
It's just made my heart sing, yeah.
So, what can we expect from the book? I think there's some tools in there, isn't there, to help people with the emotional state after they lose a loved one.
Exactly. I was so excited to write it, Michael, because I always wanted to write a book, but I had no idea how to do it. And the publishers came to me last year and proposed this to me. They said, what would you like to do? They wanted me to do something with the afterlife.
Right.
And I said, yeah, I'd like to write like a handbook, something not too big, not
Yeah.
overwhelming,
Yeah.
but just like a little guide sharing my stories, my everyday stories with my regular clients. I
Yeah.
got permission from everybody before I shared,
Right.
except I did have to change the names
Yeah.
for legal reasons. But other than that, they're true stories. And then, give a little guidance on how to prepare yourself for it.
Yeah.
And then also some exercises to open up your your third eye, basically, to
Right.
being. People wonder, how do I communicate with my animal? And I don't ever like to say that I could teach it because
No.
I really don't know how to teach it.
Right. Yeah.
But right?
Yeah.
But I do know through the years that a lot of my clients, after session,
Yeah.
they've opened up so much now
Yeah.
that they can hear their animals. I have one client in particular. Her name is Susan, and I hope she'll be watching this. And she's a Grand Prix jumper, has many, many high-end horses, but she has a beautiful heart.
Right.
And through the years now with working with me, just a couple months ago, she's like, Candy, we were in the showroom and I heard him tell me what we were going to do, what he was thinking, and he validated it. And I don't want to freak her out too,
Right.
too much. I want to scare her. But yes, she was hearing him. And then she got her trainer on board. And now I work with the trainers and pretty much the whole barn,
Wow.
all
Yeah.
my clients,
Yeah.
because of her, you know.
Super.
But I'm so proud of her because
Yeah.
it just over time,
Yeah.
she just opened up and relaxed and just, yeah. I
Yeah.
said, okay, you're going to have to fire me soon. Now I lost a great client because you were not going to need me anymore. But I'm very happy for her. I'm very proud of her. Yeah.
Super.
So,
Super.
yeah.
So, Afterlife of Animals, it's
Yeah.
available on Amazon.
Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Target, uh, Indigo, Indie Books. It's all over. You
Yeah.
just type in my name and the name of the book
Yeah.
and find it.
And you are truly an international author,
Oh,
70 times
I think
over.
so. Now I am. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it only came out this June, so it's only been out just a short while.
Wow. In such a short time.
Yeah, a short time, and it was on the #1 chart for the first 10 weeks, even on pre-sale. I
Wow.
just can't believe it. So again,
Yeah.
I'm so grateful to
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's there is a, in the world of manifestation or whatever, when your heart is really resonating with something you love doing, and you're in that place, you're in that moment, how can things like this not happen? It has to happen.
Well, thank you, Michael.
Yeah.
I like to believe that. I like to believe
Yeah.
that.
I mean,
Yeah.
you couldn't do your job if it was just a job. You wouldn't have this success. It has to be more
Yeah.
than a
Yeah.
job too.
Yeah. People ask me that. I said, if it wasn't real or true, I wouldn't be able to do it.
No.
How,
Yeah.
accomplish it.
Yeah.
People don't come back. You just,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it has to be true and real,
Yeah.
right?
For
I mean,
sure.
authentic. That's the word I'm
Authentic.
looking
That's the word.
for. Authentic. Yes.
Okay,
Yes, authentic. Yes.
Candy. We know we can get the book. Where can they find you? Also.
Oh, that's easy. Just my website, which is my name,
Right.
Candy, Candi,
Yeah.
King, Cane Cooper.com.
Okay. And you just froze.
Thank you, Michael.
You're welcome. So,
Oh, did I?
yeah. So it was. Let's do that bit again in case it
Okay,
was just me. Your website is candycanecooper.com.
correct.
Candy with an I.
Right.
And Facebook, same.
Same.
Okay.
Twitter, everything, my YouTube channel, everything's just my name.
Super.
Instagram, everything. Yeah.
And so finally, what's ahead for you? What plans are ahead for you?
Well, just to keep working with the animals every day,
Yeah.
trying to promote their life, their safety, their well-being, whatever I can do
Yeah.
to help them. And I'm thinking about possibly writing another book.
Yeah.
Uh, again, maybe this winter. We'll see.
Right.
I'm ready. I loved it. I just loved it. So I think I'm ready for #2 now.